This week, a terrible video was released by RiceGum about his visit to Hong Kong, and it's full of inaccuracies and tired tropes about Chinese culture. And I'm not accusing RiceGum of anything in this video other than to say that those videos were painful to watch. Some people say that the entire video was like a satirical skit or a joke, but a skit requires some sort of satire, and I never actually saw anything of a satirical statement made in his videos. Crucially, I'm of the opinion that whatever RiceGum thinks about Hong Kong needs to be sort of counteracted with a sort of video reaction blog like this, just calmly explaining some of those inaccuracies that RiceGum is perpetuating. A fraction of RiceGum's audience will probably believe a lot of what he said was actually true. Sadly, the whole video comes across as very insulting and very antisocial, and I don't think there's a lot of humour to be gained from that, and so I just want to say, hey, this is what it's actually like here. And of course, whenever a big YouTuber kicks up a big stink, there are some reaction videos. There's a few more down in the description for you to watch as well. I'm not here to attack RiceGum, I just want to correct some of the things that he said. Interestingly, a lot of what RiceGum says and uses as jokes are some of the most common questions I get on my Periscope channel. A lot of first timers to Hong Kong on the channel will ask some of these questions like, do they eat dog? What's the currency there? Is it safe in Hong Kong? It's so weird, and that's why I don't think RiceGum's video is very imaginative when it comes to even humour. It's not very creative, or it doesn't even want to say anything new. It's just relying on these stereotypes. So I'm here just to explain 10 things that RiceGum got wrong.
Always vlogging in America and stuff is like, why not vlog in China?
First off, RiceGum says he went to China. This isn't true, technically. Hong Kong is in China, yes, but Hong Kong is not a part of China, strictly speaking. It's like going to Puerto Rico and saying, I went to America. It's kind of disingenuous, isn't it? Hong Kong is its own governing self, has its own government, has its own currency, flag, culture, currency, and while China does look after Hong Kong, it shouldn't interfere with any of its affairs, but it is allowed to look after Hong Kong militarily and on the international stage. But you can't say you went to China, because actually you need a different visa to go to China. In fact, mainland Chinese people need a visa to come to Hong Kong. It's a crazy state of affairs, but that's one of the largest misconceptions, is that if you visit Hong Kong, then you visited China. You didn't, at all.
Kongs of Hongs. Let's go!
The weirdest one is the hand gesture that RiceGum uses, and he does the very typical, this isn't done here. In fact, if there is a Chinese hand gesture, then it's this way. And you do it when you receive a red packet and you want to say thank you. Or, commonly, you can see it nearly almost every day when street beggars are asking for money. It's this, never this. This is, I'm sure, positively, just localized to Japan. And usually when people do this, they also say Gong Hei Fat Choi, because it's at Chinese New Year when you shake your hands like this.
Bro, look at these signs, bro. It's in a different language. How can I read it?
Don't worry about the lack of English here, because there is no lack of English here. Hong Kong used to be a British colony, so it's well spoken. It's learnt in schools as the third language, if not the second sometimes, and it's the third official language of Hong Kong. Hong Kong has 3 official languages: Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. And you can see it everywhere, on the road signs, on the menus, on the shops, on even old village. If you go on a village path and you come across a sign, there's an English translation for it. It's crazy how much English is actually here. And those two in the airport video, when his friend goes up to them and approaches him,
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
they probably more than likely know English, but they just didn't care to respond.
Alright guys, I'm about to eat my first meal. Tell me why $90 a plate? What is you talking about?
Now in the video, I can't tell where RiceGum went for food, but he does show the prices, but I don't know where that place is. What I do know is that you can actually eat for half the price pretty much everywhere else. RiceGum's also being disingenuous when he says $94 or $92, whatever it is. He doesn't say US dollars or Hong Kong dollars, and I don't know if he did that deliberately or anyway, it's misleading. Importantly, the currency conversion rate is 8 Hong Kong dollars to the US dollar. So a meal that costs 94 Hong Kong dollars is actually about $12 US. And that's kind of common for Hong Kong anyway, because land prices or the shop rents are so expensive. Hong Kong is not like LA, which is what RiceGum is probably accustomed to. It's not a sprawling mass. Hong Kong is super condensed, everything's vertical, and you have to pay for expensive rates of rent. That's also reflected in the prices of the food. Just the way life is here. But you can get it cheaper. Much cheaper. Also, when RiceGum is looking for food later and he comes across lots of Western food, that's actually in his hotel. So he didn't actually find that on the street, but you can find Western food on the street. Also, RiceGum only goes to 2 places in Hong Kong. One is the airport, and he shows himself in TST. Chim Cha Choi. I can't say it properly. But TST and the airport are heavy tourist areas. So of course, those restaurants are going to have to be very expensive for the most part because you're in a central business district and there's lots of tourists. What I'm trying to say is tourists can be unfamiliar with the prices of a local culture. So you've got to be careful and shop around if you're actually at all wary of what is the going rate for a decent meal.
Yo, look at this view. This is actually pretty sick. It looks like I'm in a whole different world.
Yeah, you are kind of in a different world. See, the thing is, even if the mainland Chinese came to Hong Kong, they would experience a different world here. Hong Kong is very different, of course, to LA and the rest of China. It's a bridge in between both East and West. And a lot of the people you encountered were actually from mainland China.
Is that dog or something? What, like, that shit look disgusting. Low-key, bro, we should try a little mailman.
This one about the food is crazy because this is super common and you can find this type of restaurant everywhere. And while it looks a bit suspicious, it's not cat and it's not dog. It's actually parts of cow being broiled. This is one of the largest misconceptions being perpetuated by people outside of Hong Kong, and that's the belief that they eat cats and dogs here. They simply don't.
Where are the hoes at?
Huh?
To where are the bitches at?
Bitch.
Hey, where are the hoes at?
What's that?
What's interesting is that now RiceGum acknowledges that he's in a different world, but he's using very localized American slang to communicate with the people in Hong Kong. Yes, of course, people speak English, but irony and sarcasm isn't a skill that they've actually honed and developed for themselves. It's actually lost on most people. I'm not surprised that your words have been translated into prostitute.
It really says prostitute. Are you kidding me? Whoever wrote this or translated this, weedy. Dude, you need to be fired or something because, like, you don't know the English slang. Like,
People have taken those words literally. But as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't use those words anyway in a different country. You can't expect them to know when you yourself don't even know what it's like here. I mean, are the Chinese people supposed to know all the intricacies of the English language, just as much as you don't know their language? Also, fun fact, there are prostitutes of Hong Kong, and I'm super surprised you didn't actually get on video a lady of the night for your YouTube channel. So of course no one knows who you are. A lot of people in Hong Kong don't even know who PewDiePie is.
hey, you fuck with RiceGum? Hey, you fuck with RiceGum?
Sorry, sir?
You fuck with RiceGum?
No.
Right, at this point, you're not really speaking English to anybody and people will not understand what you're saying. Hong Kong people are a super passive bunch. It takes a lot to rile them up. And so if you come at them with swear words, they're just going to walk away from you. They're not going to engage with you, even if they understand you, because they don't expect something like this kind of behavior. This is why a lot of white people are called guailos, foreign devils, or crazy devils, because we are kind of different to them. And they probably don't expect another Asian person with a camera shouting F-bombs at their face. It's basically out of the ordinary because 99.9% of the people here just do not want any trouble. And people do not confront each other unless it's the most extreme of circumstances. And this skit isn't really a skit. You're not being fair to these people. You should be more decent. And plus, you didn't even have to go for the humorous angle. You could have legitimately said, hey, I'm RiceGum from YouTube. I've got 10 million subs. Do you know of me? And they would have still said no. And because you've asked them in a more modest way, it doesn't sound modest because you're saying, hey, I have 10 million subs. But by asking them in that way, because you're giving them more detail and more context, you come across as much more polite and you would have still got the no answer. And people, your viewers, might have been incredulous. Not, because they might not believe that, oh wow, you have 10 million subs and people don't know you. You could have walked away from that with the same result without being as insulting.
See, man, like, they don't even like me, they don't even know me. It's like, so stop coming and go back to China because, like, I don't even belong here. I belong in America, so.
This is where I don't understand. It's like a false equivalence. You're saying that the people on YouTube are telling you to go back to China, but when you go to Hong Kong, not China, they're saying they don't know you, so then therefore those on YouTube shouldn't be telling you to go to China because they don't know who you are anyway. You do know they're not the same people. I don't understand that argument. If you're trying to come at it from an intellectual point of view, you failed.
Alright guys, you guys been seeing me walk around like it's dark outside now. There's really nothing really to do out here, bro. Like, what is there really?
My last inaccuracy is when you made an offhand comment and said there's nothing to do. Remember, you only stayed in TST. Now let me give you 10 things to do just in TST. Ride the ferry and go on a junk tour. Go swimming in the local swimming pool, and it is huge. Go shopping, and there is mall after mall after mall in TST. Perfect for your flexing, because they've got Dolce & Gabbana and all the other big brands that you like to flex with. You could have toured the famous Chungking Mansions. It's one of the most multicultural places in Hong Kong itself, and you're just around the corner from it. Number 5, you could have got a tailor-made suit from Sam's Tailors, one of the most famous tailor shops in the world. Perfect for your flexing, in fact. And with a quick turnaround, with your 2-day stay, you could have got measured, could have had it made and delivered to you while you were still in Hong Kong. This one's for the Muslims. The largest mosque in Hong Kong is in TST. Also in TST is Koreatown, Bruce Lee's primary school, could have walked along the harbour front, and there are tons of museums. I know not all of those are interesting, but it does show the variety of things that you can do, and I've only told you about the legal ones. There is simply that much to do in TST where you stayed, and more than likely other tourists visiting would stay there as well. So there's no excuse. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I hope all of this helps everyone and explain some of the problems with RiceGum's video and where he got it all so wrong. Although if it was deliberate, you need to make the joke more obvious. You need to let us know that you're deliberately being obtuse. As far as I can see, you actually genuinely believe those things that you put on your YouTube channel. Anyway, I hope some of this helps with explaining RiceGum. Anyway, I hope some of this helps with explaining Hong Kong and understanding where RiceGum got it all so wrong. If you decide to come, I hope it's actually because of RiceGum's millions of views for his video, and this reaction video is sort of pegging off any of the traffic from there, and we can turn a negative into a bit of a positive, and hey, visit a part of the world that you probably didn't know about before. So thanks for watching, and if you're new to the channel, I regularly do videos about Hong Kong. I like to explain Hong Kong. This is why I'm making this reaction video, to get into some of the details. Check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you later on the channel.